Hello, how is everybody doing today? That is great. Say hello to the Gator boys. This is the MyTeam roster completely comprised of University of Florida attendees and graduates coming out of Gainesville. And I'm not talking Tim Depot. We are talking about David Lee, Joakim Noah, Al Horford, Corey Brewer, Mike Miller, and the Funky Bunch. This team from the SEC has plenty of depth inside, starting with Noah, Lee, and Horford, but also guys like Matt Bonner, Maurice Speights, and Udonis Haslem coming off the bench. All sorts of wing players and shooters like Chandler Parsons, Corey Brewer, and Mike Miller. The one thing that we do not possess and lacking in entirety is a true point guard. We don't even have one on the roster. And this will leave the distribution duties in the hands of Mad Max, as well as a little bit of Bradley Beal, although surprisingly Bradley Beal has an abysmal passer rating in this game. I wouldn't trust him at the point guard position, even though initially that's who I had envisioned running the point for this Florida Gator team, allowing me to have Vernon Maxwell at the off guard position, a little bit easier to score, and not relying on him to be the primary ball handler and scoring threat. I think I lucked out during this MyTeam game. I believe it was being played in the 4th seed, and I actually came up with a roster with an assortment of bronze players and silvers instead of the constantly stacked all gold 8 to 12 legends on the rosters that you're currently accustomed to seeing, even in the middle seeds. But because of the VC glitch, it's just the way it shakes out now. I found it completely refreshing to match up with a guy like DJ Augustine instead of the constant threat of Stephen Curry, Chris Paul, and Derrick Rose. And that's not a knock on DJ. My opponent actually used him very effectively. Vernon Maxwell had a hard time with the cover, and I made the switch to Bradley Beal. But we know where the strength of this Florida team is. It's inside in the paint.
Off the charts. He's off the charts. He's the most exciting player in personality that's played here.
He seems to be a real human being and not just an athlete. And he seems to be an intelligent kid. And, you know, he's probably the best liked athlete on this campus in a long, long time.
He's a wild kid. You can see on the court, just the way that he's on the court. He's outside the court.
Yeah, he's very open-minded. He said that. And he tries to bring a piece of every culture to us and try to get us to learn about it. So.
5-time Mr. Green. Great surprise. What a great surprise. I was so hyped.
He knows the game. When he's on the court, he knows the game. So,
small fan?
Yeah, very smart. And he can play any play. He can play any spot except for the 5. He can play any spot.
You know where it is.
Yeah, he got to get a little stronger. When he gets stronger, he'll be all right with that. But he can play any spot on the court. And he's a guard. He had a mind as a guard. You see the way he passes the ball? He's the real deal.
He is irritating. He is interesting. He plays for the Chicago Bulls. Let's see if we can irritate him a little bit. Joakim, describe for us your last year at Florida.
My last year at Florida was a blast. I had so much fun. We won a lot of basketball games, and then at night we partied, and we did our homework too sometimes.
I want to hear about that though. I mean, your life had to be a party that whole year. I want to hear about that. What were the parties like?
Well, let me tell you the truth. And I think that it's not really appropriate to talk about it on TV, but you know, one day if you want to, you know, we can grab a beer and I'll tell you all about it.
You had more fun at Florida than Tebow, didn't you? You had more fun at Florida than anyone in the history of Florida.
Listen, Tebow is the guy who got the most love in terms of, you know, what he brought to the table. But I promise you that Tebow did not have as much fun as I had. Way more fun than Tim Tebow. We went to school at the same time too.
At the history of Florida, in the history of Florida, who's had more fun than you? Give me a name. Somebody, anybody. Yeah, nobody.
No.
Percentage of classes you went to that year?
My junior year?
Last year.
Let's talk about what the percentage my freshman year.
No. No, let's talk about your junior year. What percent? Let's break down the percentages. If you want to do it that way, let's do it that way. Freshman year, you went to how many classes?
Freshman year, I went to all my classes. I had to. Sophomore year, when we started winning, it started getting a little trickier. But I was still going, and then my junior year, it was a battle. It was a battle. They were waking me up at 5 o'clock in the morning, making me run, and I was just telling the guys that it was what they were doing was just making me better.
Give me a number.
Why are you doing this to me?
Because it's funny, and you're one of the few guys in sports who would actually answer the question. That's why.
I'm trying to tell these kids to go to school, man, and you're trying to get me to tell a percentage.
Yeah, I'm gonna press you one more time. No.
No, I'm not giving you the answer to that. I'm not going to lie.
All right. That's fine. You kind of answered it anyway. How would you describe your upbringing? It had to be unusual. What was unusual about it?
I think that my father being a pretty popular figure in France, just everything that he has to deal with and just being famous and all that. You know, being a kid, you don't want to, share your father with all these people. I just wanted to spend time with him. It was hard at times because, he was always in the media and saying all kinds of crazy things. But yeah, I think that's pretty unusual. But at the same time, it helped me just understand what the whole process is all about.
Mange bien, mon père mange très bien, des filets mignons quand il veut, tu vois. Il boit du bon pinard. Tu vois, le gars, il fait son truc avec sa musique et tout, il s'éclate en France. Et moi je m'éclate ici et je suis pas dans une situation où, même si je savais que le talent allait augmenter cette année, Greg Oden et les gars comme Kevin Durant, des gars comme ça qui vont probablement être 1 et 2, si je suis 3, 4, 5, 6, ça va, moi ça m'est égal. Je m'éclate, je suis content et moi c'est ce qui m'intéresse.
Joakim is, financially okay, and my dad played pro basketball and stuff like that, so it always helps.
I'm in a totally different situation now. My parents aren't really great financially, but it was worth coming back though.
That tells about the strong friendship.
Yeah, you can say that we got a real strong friendship and we got a real strong bond, so that's why we had to come back together for at least one more year.
They have fun here. They have fun living together. They genuinely enjoy each other. And when they give that up, they're probably not going to get that back. It's not going to be the same for them on the next level when they're playing for themselves and they're playing for contracts.
Do you wish he had been around more? I mean, the sport is so consuming, and being excellent at sports is so consuming. Do you wish he had been around more?
My pops? Yeah, I wish my pops was around more. It's hard. As a kid, you don't understand why, there's so many constraints on seeing my pops. My parents divorced at a young age, but just not having him around all the time was hard. But I would say he's a great father because he was always there for us, making sure that we were doing all right.
Do you enjoy being a villain?
Do I enjoy it? I like energy. So whether it's positive energy or negative energy, it gets me going. So I like playing on the road, and I think that hate fuels me to play even harder. So I like that.
And so when did you start soaking that in and enjoying it? From the start?
I loved it from the start. I loved it. Always loved it.
Really? So do you remember the first time you walked into an arena and were hated?
I mean, I remember from high school. I remember coming from France and arena screaming USA, USA, and that would get me going. And when I got to college, it was always like, Noah, cut your hair, or show some class. And just in those kind of, it got worse, but it was cool. I love that stuff.
What's the most broken basketball has left you?
I think anytime you lose, I think the end of the years, playing in the playoffs, this was a really hard one for me. Just seeing Derrick go down, then me go. I really felt like we had a chance to win the championship this year, and unfortunately, we lost pretty early. But we were a really focused group, and it was tough to go out the way we went out this year. But you know what? All these tough times, I think, is only going to make us stronger.
So were you happy seeing LeBron win like a lot of players were, or did it infuriate you because you thought you could have and should have been there?
Was I happy that he won? Definitely not happy. I mean, I wasn't sad either. I didn't really pay attention to it. I really have too many. I didn't really feel too much about it. I just turned it off.
Once in a lifetime type of deal, and I'm just really excited that I'm able to, spend another year with these guys. I enjoy being here in Florida, and I'm just very blessed that I'm able to do this.
My father has a question for you. Go ahead, Papi.
Do you think your coach looks like a butcher?
Do I think my coach looks like a butcher?
Yes, does he look like a butcher? He looks like a butcher. Come on, Joakim, he does. If I put an apron on him, it was a bloody apron, he kind of looks like a butcher.
Listen, my coach can make me run suicides. You guys don't make me run suicides, okay? So, I love Tibbs. Tibbs, I love you, man. I would never fall for that. Don't worry, Tibbs. I love you, man.
Tibbs, I love you, but you look like a butcher.
I am most certainly biased as a Chicago Bulls fan. But how can you not like Joe Noah? I mean, the guy is the definition of hustle and the meaning of scrapper. Vernon Maxwell getting his first points of the second half. Now, Joakim Noah, I'm hoping they give him some love when it comes to 2K14 signature skills and my Chicago Bulls roster. He is very much deserving of break starter, scrapper, tenacious rebounder, and defensive anchor at a minimum. You could even argue for lockdown defender maybe. We see Vernon Mad Max Maxwell to the line for his third and fourth points of the second half. Now this is the quarter when Maxwell begins to get a little bit angry, and I can sense that he is morphing into his alternate persona, Mad Max. Time to put the ball through the hoop. When you've got your opponent down by double digits in the second half early, that is when the game is won and lost. Basketball is a game of runs, so now is the time you can build that cushion and give your team a lead that will sustain your lead for the rest of the game. And if you have a player, an offensive weapon, a guy like Carmelo Anthony, a guy like LeBron James, a guy like Kobe Bryant, a guy like Derrick Rose, a guy like CP3, somebody that you are comfortable scoring with, your go-to guy, then it's the time to use them. If you're up, pump the ball through them, give them touches, and let them go to work. In this case, for the Florida Gators, my post presence, my rebounding has gotten me the lead, and now it is time for Vernon Maxwell to finish him off. And I'm not claiming that I'm about to win this game in the third quarter, only that is the mind state that you need to have at this point with this cushion. Become the alpha shark, take control of the game, and do everything you can to keep the opponent down. So we see Steve Novak, he's got that look in his eye. You know, if it's my team mode or online play with Steve Novak, you know it's coming. Don't give Mad Max that much space, he will put it in the hoop. I tried to explain it to him. If he hasn't got the picture already, then he's a step or two behind, as I am 1.5 steps behind Augustine with a nice pull-up jumper. That was an excellent play, finding a little bit of space on the wing, pulling up for the easy two. I rushed this possession, not waiting for anything to develop. Take a bad shot with Parsons, but Joakim Noah is there to bail me out. The ball finds its way back over to Mad Max, and you know what's up, doing his best DJ Augustine impression, pulling up from the wing. And Vernon has now scored 12 points in the second half, only 2.5 minutes into the third quarter. Quite the explosion. You can see DJ Augustine with an excellent backdoor cut. I blow that play. Easy points. Definitely could have stopped that bucket had I just maintained my position and stayed between Augustine and the basket. He doesn't see Max over there in the corner. He's going to light it up again for a triple. The guy is on fire and doesn't plan on cooling off just quite yet. Augustine, another take to the hole, but I'm not going to get embarrassed again. I'd rather put you on the line. That's some old school basketball. It's not real life. You go ahead and throw your body in there, take the foul. I've never fouled out a single player from a MyTeam game. What can I say? I have been in foul trouble before. I've had to bench people, but never earned the 6 fouls and got the boot in a single game. Parsons slips under the defense. Beal with a nice feed inside. Parsons gonna somehow come up with the points. Danger, danger. We got Steve Novak bringing up the ball. You know what's going down. What I tried to tell you. He's over there. You know what's up. And Steve Novak gets pushed out of bounds. That's what you get. Steve Novak's not the guy you want to go to in crunch time. At least not the guy you want to have with the ball in his hands. He's an excellent spot-up shooter, but that's it. And I'll take my makeshift point guard, Mad Max, any day of the week. You see him draining it from way downtown. DJ Augustine's going to look to respond, dribbling around the defense, around the arc. Going to bring it in the hole, try to ISO on Mad Max, and pulls off a nice double spin move, as you can see right here. Pretty fancy. But I'm not stressing it because Mad Max now has 18 points in the second half with a minute to go in the third quarter, guiding the team to a 16-point lead. This has provided my coaching staff with the opportunity to get some bench players in, some rest and relief for the starters. You see Udonis Haslem, Al Horford, and Brewer all on the floor. That's a bad shot by DJ. He might be able to do a little bit against my team, but that is not going to happen. Not this time. Back to Mad Max. This one is not going to go in, even though he had a little bit of space. The fatigue is setting in. This version of Maxwell doesn't have the greatest stamina, I think. I guess for any player, if you're going to run him the whole game at a position, he's going to get a little bit dogged out as the game goes on. He's holding his own here with DJ Augustine. We are refusing the easy bucket inside. Let's send Chris Kardashian to the line. And as I mentioned earlier, my opponent's running bronze players. I've got him outmatched. He's running Chris Humphries. I've got a guy like David Lee. What you gonna do when the Rucker Park version of David Lee comes for you? Oh my goodness, the guy's out there beasted, making it look easy with the street ballers, as most of the time the NBA guys do when you see they make their appearances in the organized street ball. Vince Carter, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, some of the names that come to my mind when I think about NBA players at Rucker Park going bonkers. I don't know what else to call it. They're going bonkers on these people. And that's why I didn't start Bradley Beal at the point guard. Not sure if that's a little bit of 2K love or his poor passing in general, but that ball ends up well beyond the photography section. About a 12-foot pass. Why does that happen? Augustine's continually trying to get to the hoop, but I've seen it a few too many times. We're bringing Chandler Parsons over for the nice help defense.
Now he doesn't lead the Gators in scoring, but Chandler Parsons scores in other ways, many other ways.
Defensive rebounding, starting the break, offensive rebounding. I mean, he really had a complete game, you know, all the way through.
This Gator likes doing the things the old stat sheet can't recognize.
I'm going to do whatever it takes for us to win. I love Florida. I love winning. I want to win as many games as I can while I'm here. So if that's taking charges, if that's making shots, if that's playing defense, if that's whatever Coach Diamond and my team needs me to do, I'm going to do.
There's a presence there with him, you know, where he as a player is giving me as a coach, you know, a confidence of him being very reliable.
Lofty praise for a Gator who has come a long way from his freshman year, where Chandler performed alongside old high school teammate Nick Calathis. Sometimes he acted like he was still in high school.
Oh, it's night and day. It's unbelievable. I'm totally bought into this team and winning, and just like I said, I'll do whatever it takes for us to win.
The greatest growth I've ever seen from a player that I've coached here at Florida is Joakim Noah. Going from a total enigma, who is this guy, never plays 8 minutes a game, to potentially being the first player taken in the NBA draft, winning a national championship and being the finals MVP. In terms of understanding what this is all about.
Did you ever think you'd stay 4 years in Florida?
You know what? I never really thought about it. I knew if I had an opportunity to go into the NBA early or something like that, I would think about it. But, you know, I love being here. I love Florida, and I'm really glad I stayed all 4 years.
Whether you're a fan in the cheap seats or an NBA scout here courtside in the O'Connell Center, you've seen a lot of growth from Chandler Parsons the past 4 years. In fact, some of the NBA guys say he could be a first-round selection. Now, Parsons isn't worried about the NBA. He's dealing with the here and now. And right now, he sees the Gators making some noise in March.
We have great freshmen, we have great older guys, we have leadership, and you know, we're really bought in on the defensive end, and that's going to win us games this year.
So he's all grown up. Yes, Parsons is a changed man, not only on the inside, but how about the outside? Specifically, the hair, where it seems the longer it gets, the better he plays.
The hair is staying. It's getting out of control right now. As soon as it gets in my eyes, I may have to throw a headband on or something to keep it back out of my eyes.
Like Sampson, Chandler finds strength in the longer locks. Parsons hopes to unlock a championship drop for Florida, where if he keeps playing like this, it could get hairy for the rest of the SEC.
David Lee plays for a contender in the Western Conference, Golden State Warriors, and Chandler Parsons, they're also probably a legitimate championship contender, at least a Western Conference contender, with the establishment and organization that they've got down there in Houston. Parsons is the starting small forward with all sorts of talent around him. That should fit his game quite nicely. You know, get in where you fit in. He can make things happen from all sorts of angles. And both of those teams, Golden State and Houston, looking to contend. And who are they going to contend with other than this guy's former team, the new Memphis Grizzly, former Miami Heat, Mike Miller.
So, Mike, you still follow these current Gators. Who's your favorite player to watch?
I think the whole group. I think Boyton's an exciting player to watch. Obviously, he's a freshman and doing a lot of things. So, but Chandler Parsons has made a few big-time shots, so that makes it fun. The little guy is always fun to watch. It's a good group. It's hopefully they'll find their niche and make a push here.
There's a lot of talk about expanding the tournament to 96 teams, and obviously that would bode well for SEC teams. A lot of coaches are behind that. What do you think?
Well, obviously, the coaches will know best. They're around. If it happens. SEC will definitely make its mark in that situation because of how deep it is. But we'll see what happens. I'm accustomed to 64 teams, and that's what I went through. But we'll see what happens.
You've been in the league for 10 years now. How often does this happen, that a bunch of Gators show up to your NBA games?
It's been quite a bit, and that just goes to show you how big the fan base is at the University of Florida and what Coach Donovan has done there. You got to give him a lot of credit. The guy took over and is pretty much a football school, and now you see big groups like this coming to NBA games and seeing and backing their players that used to play there. And that's where we started. You take Corey, you got Al Horford, you got Joakim, that's where we started, and it gave us our opportunity to be where we're at, and we owe a lot to that university.
Thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end of this 25-minute video, but it was worth it. We watched the first ever YouTube presentation for the Gator team for NBA 2K. Nobody else is doing that. Joakim Noah doing work. Matt Bonner in the background. He's not doing much. Good game, Ronnie Brewer. Good game, Bradley Beal. Thank you so much again. Check out the subscriber games. Blacktop episode 8 this Saturday. Peace.